Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this session from wherever you are. 7th of October falls the anniversary of the Visal Day or Day of Samadhi of Sheikh Chachaji. In this light, I will unfold a few pages from his teachings and other things. Chachaji, as he is popularly known as, is very simple and very unconventional as far as his teachings are concerned. In ordinary words, he will communicate the deepest truth. It happened once somebody asked, what is the difference between, it is said that you must have developed love towards God. What is the difference between love for God, love for your wife, love for your children, love for your sister, love for your brother? Imagine. Chachaji gave a very simple example. He said there was a man, he used to make compost manure, khad, and he used to have his outside his house, and compost manure comes when the food particles and other things decompose. There was a very bad smell. No one could pass that side. Everybody has to close their nostrils. There were flies and things like these. Then one day a man came, he passed through that and he saw the manure. He was very excited. He went to inquire from the person, is this manure available for sale? He said yes. He bought that manure and he took the manure and put it in his garden, in his flower beds, and then he planted beautiful roses, beautiful trees, and after some time the flowers started blossoming, the fruits starts coming. So what is this fruit? What is the beauty of the flowers? What is the fragrance? It is the same dirt, same fertilizer which is transformed. You never knew about this. This manure can be transformed into beauty and fragrance. You never knew that this out of this mud, out of this compost manure will emerge so many fruits. Chachaji said, this is the manure is your love. And the person who took the manure spread it in his flower beds, and nourished and nurtured his plants and flowers with that compost, the manure that was stinking. And out of that, the mud got transformed. It was that gardener, that person who has the capacity to transform the mud. He knew the technique how to transform the mud into the beautiful flowers, and flowers with beauty and fragrance, and the fruits with mellow taste and everything. This is the way your love is. Your love for your sister, brother, husband, wife, friends, neighbor. If you know the slightest technique you can transform the same love into the love for the divine. Faizan-e Mohabbat and Irfan-e Mohabbat. The difference is transformation. One who is capable of transforming that into this. He gave another example. There was a sculpture. His name was Michelangelo. He used to spend his time around the shop when after finishing his day's work, he will go and spend some time there. So at the back of that shop, there was a big piece of stone. Big piece of stone. So one day the shopkeeper said, Michael, I have this nuisance, big nuisance behind my shop. I don't have any use for this. This is what your world tells you. You are not worthy. You don't have any use. You are a useless fellow. So Michelangelo said, but I do not have the money to transport it. And Michael used to go at the back of the shop and look at the big, huge rock, a stone. And he used to get into meditative trance, very pensive mood. And something he was seeing in that stone which no one else could see. So then he said, I will transport it to your place because it is a nuisance. I want to do some structure at the back. Michael was very happy. The stone was brought to his place. He started working on it. And how does a sculpture work? A sculpturer takes a chisel and hammer and chisels out the superfluous stone around something in order to manifest that remains unmanifest in the stone. Unmanifest, so he carved, he continued working months. Then out of that he created a sculpture. Jesus was crucified, he was hanged, his body, it was Friday afternoon, it was a conspiracy of forget about the name. And his body is lying on the lap of Mary, mother. It is a beautiful piece of sculpture. Then he went to the shop. He said, I want to show you something. You have to come with me. You have to come with me. The shopkeeper went. The sculpture was covered with a piece of cloth. As the shopkeeper reached, Michael removed the veil from there. And what the shopkeeper saw, he was amazed, bemused, surprised, struck dumb. How did you do this? How did you do this? He said the stone, the sculpture was hidden, was unmanifest in the piece of stone. I simply had the opportunity. I simply had known the technique to chisel out the unwanted, the superfluous stone, and the sculpture is shining in front of you. A master is a sculpturist of the being. He chisels out things out of your mind. He knows the technique how to transform mud into a beautiful flower, how to transform a useless stone into a sculpture. He chisels out things out of you so that your inner beauty starts manifesting. The love that you know for your wife, your husband, your friend, your neighbor is like the stinking manure. Sex is a form of love. It is an energy. existential bioenergy that comes to you with birth. It is stinking, as you know, and you do not want to talk about this, but it is the manure. If you know the technique, how to use it, spread it into your garden, inner garden, and plant trees and flowers. It will blossom into a beautiful oasis, a garden. That is the entire process of transformation of human consciousness. That is the way of Tantra. How to transform your love, फैज़ान-ए-मोहब्बत, फैज़ान-ए-मोहब्बत आम है, इरफान-ए-मोहब्बत आम नहीं. It is very rare that somebody attains to irfan-e-mohabbat. Faiżan-e-mohabbat is easy, that everybody knows. Everybody knows about sex, but they do not know how sex is transformed into the beautiful flower, into the buds which has a fragrance and beauty around it. But this is the beginning of a new process. It is a new way of love. A devotee means to fall in love with the master. The moment disciple falls in love, he comes as an inquisitive student. He reaches up to a certain standard, certain level. The university does not transform you from a student to disciple and disciple to devotee. You simply remain a student. A student has to transform into disciple, and disciple has to become devotee. The entire process comes when you start falling in love with the master. Master, he said, I am a door, nothing more than that. 6 calls their place of worship as Gurudwara, means the door to the master, and master himself is a door. In order to reach the master, you have to cross all the doors wherein your consciousness is stuck, and then you pass through the door that the master is to go beyond. In order to come into the room, you use the door. In order to exit out of the room, you use the door again. The moment you fall in love with the master, the process of transformation begins. Door is simply a door. You have to go beyond this. I have opened a window. I am standing in my room. I have opened a window. From there I am giving you a clarion call. Come. Come, I am ready for you. From this opening, I am looking towards you. I am inviting you. Beyond this, there is open sky, white clouds, stars, the sun, the moon. You have to reach there. Do not stuck with me. You have to go beyond me. Through this association, a little ray of bliss, a ray of happiness comes into your life. Allow it to deepen. Right now, as such as you are, the voice is coming to you as if coming from far away, fading. Allow it to deepen. It is like the locust chirping in the winds, in the woods. The bull is lost, is searching for the patriarch bull. Search around the rivers, meadows, forests, everywhere. could never find nowhere any glimpse of this. Then all of a sudden he heard the sound of the locust chirping, locust sound, birds chirping. He saw the tail of the bull. You are far away, and because of that distance you will not hear my heartbeat. You will not hear my heartbeat. Then you will listen to my heartbeat, not the words. You will fall into the gaps between the words that flow out of me. And the moment you start listening to the unsaid, that which is not spoken, that's why it is said, music is not in the sound. Music must take you to the state of soundlessness. So a sound is created and the sound fades into silence. You have to listen to that. Come now, let us start love from a new angle altogether. You have known the love for your wife, for your husband, for your spouse, for your children, but you have to start your journey in a different way. दिल के वीराने को मामूर मसरत कर लें, दिल के वीराने को मामूर मसरत कर लें, गर्दिश चरख को फिर खगूर वहज़त कर लें, उम्र नाशाद को सरमाए इशरत कर लें, वक्त बाकी है अभी आ जाओ उल्फत कर लें. Still there is time. The heart that was like a desert, let it become an oasis once again. The life that was wasting in useless pursuits, let it become beautiful. Come, let us start the journey of love on a totally different note. Let us sing the song of love on a different note. This master-disciple state, this is a new journey. Come down of the horse that you are riding. You have traveled far and wide with this crowd, with this procession of the worldly world. Now travel with one who is alone. Travel with one who is alone, and when you start traveling with such a person, you will experience the bliss of aloneness. As such as you are lonely. The moment you learned hand in hand to walk with the person who has cherished his aloneness, you will experience a totally new way of bliss. And that very experience of oneness, aloneness, will become the experience of God. God is not a person sitting somewhere. It is the total positivity. It is the bliss overflowing within you. It is, God is not a trust. It is a realization. God is not a principle. It is trust. The moment the trust begins to blossom into you, miracle is sure to happen. Wise is the one who has learned, who has started making inroads to live within. He starts rejoicing the inner serenity, the inner sky, because there alone is the being of the being. That is your reservoir, the source of life. That's where is your origin, from where the holy river of divinity flows. We are bound by the crowd. The crowd never comes to rescue you in any way. This is simply a way to forget the inner search. This is an intoxication that we are always towards. In the real moments of life, you are all alone. When you were born alone. Within and without you alone were. Nothing more. When you will end the life, you will end alone. Nothing will remain with you. Your life began with a few breaths. There was no identity. There was no name, no respect, nothing. And when you end life, there will be name, identity, and so many things, but not even a single breath that connects you to life. If you use your wisdom even slightest, whenever you get such moments in life, be full of gratitude, then you will find that you are alone. The moment you are connected to the rising sun, the rhythm, the flow, the music of the rising sun, even for a single moment, the 7 colors of sun will spread in your life. While listening to the music, when silence descends within you, as if somebody has touched, vibrated the strings of the inner instrument. The moment the inner instrument begins to vibrate, how would you rejoice the outer music? The moment you have experienced your inner beauty and fragrance, you will realize the outer beauty and fragrance is of no use. When something important happens in life, when something important happens in life, you will realize that you are all alone. I want to say something to you. If love has blossomed in your life ever, I use the word ever. If love has blossomed in your life ever, you have become alone. If love has happened between you and your wife, you and your spouse, they are not two, there is oneness. The two becomes one. And that, even if it happens for a fraction of a second, that oneness in love, we understand it by a different word. In love, two aloneness merges. Two bliss merges into one another. That we give the name orgasm. You have to learn to be in orgasm constantly with the existence. Two people is crowd. When two lovers are together, there is no crowd. There is no other. There you are alone, the other is alone. When two aloneness, two emptiness merges into one another, it is something like this. There are two rooms. One room is yours. It is surrounded by walls and doors. Your spouse has another room. The moment the boundaries surrounding the room are removed, will there be two emptinesses, two spaces? Certainly there will be one space. The space of your room will merge into the space of your spouse. There will be simply one space. When two zeros merge into one another, it doesn't make two zeros. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 multiplied by 0 is 0. 0 divided by 0 is 0. 0 subtracted from 0 is 0. Two emptiness merge into one another. If something like this has not happened in your life, you have been in the moments of love, but like a crowd. Remember, that is the moment of lust, not the moment of love. This is the difference between the faizan-e-mohabbat and irfan-e-mohabbat, the love for the outer and love for the inner. Whenever you are alone, utilize those moments. Consider these as blessings. Slowly and slowly you will start rejoicing. In the beginning there will be discomfort. And this is what Buddha says. An emptiness. Constantly you want to be connected with the crowd, which is a heap of manure, stinking. And you want to come, you are attracted towards it, and you want to go away from this. When there is emptiness, there is silence. Emptiness rejoices silence, serenity. Crowd rejoices the noise. It will take time to change the habit, but once you get the taste of inner bliss or happiness, wherever you are, amidst the crowd, in the marketplace or in your meditative place, you are carrying your inner emptiness with you. You will never get lost anywhere. There are high mountains and deep valleys deep within you, but you are unfamiliar with that. एक दिल का दर्द है कि रहा जिंदगी के साथ. There was one agony of heart that remains connected with life. एक दिल का दर्द है कि रहा जिंदगी के साथ. एक दिल का चैन था कि सदा ढूंढते रहे. There was one serenity, the comfort of the heart, that we constantly searching here and there, and such was your way of life. You can get the peace, solace, inner serenity this very moment. That which you are seeking within, that which you are seeking outside in this and that and so, that is deep within you. Your sorrow, your unhappiness can vanish this very moment. Let me repeat it again. एक दिल का दर्द है कि रहा जिंदगी के साथ. There is one pain of inner, pain of the heart, that is that always remained with the crowd, with the life. एक दिल का चैन था कि सदा ढूंढते रहे. One was the serenity, the comfort of the heart that we were always seeking in this and that. Such is the very story of your life. Life is a story. Throughout the life you had been searching specks of happiness, bliss and serenity here and there. Somehow this pain or agony may diminish. Direction is wrong. It is something like this. Somebody is trying to squeeze the sand to get the oil out of it. The happiness, the bliss, the serenity is deep within and you are searching it outside. Pain and suffering is outside. Bliss and serenity is within. Remember, alone you come and alone you go. Amidst these, there are a few moments when you want to be the part of the crowd. If these moments between life and death are filled with inner serenity, you have fallen in love with the Master. And through the door that the Master is, you have come to the beyond. You will get the secret of life. और कब कौन साथ देता है, and who stays with you, and for which matter does somebody supports you. All is simply an illusion, but we continue to live in that illusion. Such was the simple ways and means of the teachings of Raghuvar Dayal. He lived very simple. He lived always in deficiency, but never allowed the influence to vanish and the light that was to radiate out of him or to surround anyone continued in multifarious ways. 7th of June 1947 was the day. He had a unique way. He was suffering from diabetes, but every afternoon he will take a roasted potato that is roasted on the open fire and chickpeas roasted. That is what the Hindi word, the stew he used to eat one potato. And there is a beauty. Potato is harmful for diabetes, but when it is roasted specifically on the open fire, something what we call in Trinidad as barbecue, then it has a totally different kind of a taste and quality. So on 7th of June, he complained of some pain. So whosoever were around him, he told one to go and do this, that, and so he sent everybody from him. So someone went to call the doctor, next one went for something else, and so he and his wife remained alone. He was sitting in the lotus posture on the bed, and in that state he entered into Samadhi consciously embraced death and entered into that state. Now by the time everybody returned, he was no more physically alive. He had entered. Now he was squatting. It was difficult. Now it was necessary to let him lie down. So there was a person who was a cook in the house. So he belonged to a higher caste, and Chachaji never allowed him to touch his feet. Many times This man wanted to touch his feet, but he never allowed him to do. It happened so everybody was trying to, somebody had to hold his feet and pull it, and next one was holding up to the shoulder and hands so that the body could remain lying down. So as he went to touch the feet, he got a shock and he fell almost 4 to 5 feet behind him. He said that Chachaji never allowed him to touch his feet. How could he allow at this time when he is no more in the body? He had a dog. Dog, whenever Chachaji will have his meals, dog will come and sit down, and he will not take the meals, food from anybody else. Whatsoever Chachaji will leave for him, he will eat that, nothing else. It happened after Chachaji entered into Samadhi, he started following the funeral pyre. But the people chased him, yet he could not say anything. And then the dog returned and lay down. After that, he did not eat a single meal. And I do not know what day, but finally he died. The moment he died, everybody felt very unhappy, that they repented that they should have allowed the dog to go with him. There was a controversy arose between his two sons, Radha Mohan Lal and Jyotindra Mohan. Jyotindra Mohan, the youngest one, was the shadow of the middle one. Brij Mohan Lal, the eldest son, was not around, and no message was sent to do a conspiracy that his father has passed away and the eldest son did not come. Somehow or the other, one of the seeker realized that there is some mischief going on. He said, this is impossible that Bade Bhai Sahab Brij Mohan Lal is sent the message and he does not come. So by then the funeral arrangements were made under the guidance of Radha Mohan Lal, and it was to be done according to the Muslim rites. On 8th of June 1947, his body was enshrined 7 miles outside the city of Kanpur where he lived. And that place is a pilgrimage for the holy seekers, shrine of Chachaji. Thus was his life of simplicity, and amidst this simplicity he continued to share the inner light. नहीं मिलते हैं ये गौहर बादशाहों के खजीनों में. He was such a treasure that is not found even in the richest treasure of the kings. Such was the life of Raghuvardaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Inna Allahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. Inna Allahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. Inna Allahi wa inna ilahi raji'un. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.